vice versa. In a way, the development of the scientific method has come from this type of process, where strategies of observation and analysis that were developed for one area of study, such as physics, have been applied to other areas such as biology, deriving an inspiration for something which is loosely based on the actual process of the model. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's portrayal of Sherlock Holmes, which was based on the diagnostic methods of his medical school professor Joseph Bell, is a good example of this. Modeling deep structure and surface structure. NLP draws many of its principles and distinctions from the field of transformational grammar, Chomsky 1957-65, as a means to create models of people's verbal behavior. One of the essential principles of transformational grammar is that tangible behaviors, expressions, and reactions are surface structures, which are the result of bringing deeper structures into reality. This is another way of saying that the models we make of the world around us with our brains and our language are not the world itself, but representations of it. One important implication of the principles of transformational grammar is that there are multiple levels of successfully deeper structures in the structure and organization within any coding system. An important implication of this with respect to modeling is that it may be necessary to explore various levels of deep structure behind a particular performance in order to produce an effective model of it. Furthermore, different surface structures may be reflections of common deep structures. For effective modeling, it is frequently important to examine multiple examples of surface structures in order to better know or identify the deeper structure which produces it. Another way to think about the relationship between deep structure and surface structure is the distinction between process and product. Products are the surface level expressions of the deeper and less tangible generative processes which are their source. Thus, deep structures are latent potentials that become manifest in concrete surface structures as a result of a set of transformations. This process includes the selective destruction as well as the selective construction of data. In this regard, one of the fundamental challenges of modeling comes from the fact that the movement between deep structure and surface structure is subject to the processes of generalization, deletion, and distortion. That is, some information is necessarily lost or distorted in the transformation from deep structure to surface structure. In language, for example, these processes occur during the translation of deep structure. The mental images, sounds, feelings of any other sensory representations that are stored in our nervous systems to surface structure, the words, signs, and symbols we choose to describe or represent our primary sensory experience. No verbal description is able to completely or accurately represent the idea it is attempting to express. The aspects of deep structure which become manifest are those for which enough missing links, deletions, generalizations, distortions have been filled in that the latent potential at the level of deep structure is able to complete the surface of series of transformations necessary to become manifest as surface structure. One of the goals of the modeling process is to identify and complete enough sets of transformations so that an appropriate and useful expression of the deep structure may be attained. Levels of modeling. Creating an effective model of a particular behavior or performance involves more than an imitation. Depending on one's purpose for modeling, there may be several different levels of information required in order to achieve the desired performance or application. In modeling an individual, for example, there are a number of different aspects or levels of the various systems and subsystems in which that person operates that we may explore. At one level, for instance, one can look at the social and geographical environment influences on a person, i.e. when and where that person is acting or performing. That is, one can consider the external context such as the state of marketplace, natural surroundings, workplace, etc. Furthermore, one can examine both macro environments and macro environments. Micro and macro environments. Micro environments would involve specific locations such as an individual's office, a particular building, classroom or factory, etc. Macro environments would include general habitats, social context, public events, etc. In addition to the influence these environments may have on the individual to be modeled, one can examine the influence and impact that the individual has or may have on the environment. At another level, one can examine the specific behaviors and actions that a person engages in while performing, i.e. what specifically the person does within the environment, what are the particular patterns of work interaction or as with the environment level, or communication related to collaborators' problems or goals. As with the environmental level, one can focus on either micro or macro behavioral patterns. Macro behaviors would involve general patterns of communication, work, style, etc. Micro-behavioral patterns would involve more detailed and specific actions, such as particular patterns during tasks, specific work routines, work habits, etc. Just found a different power pose too, just from reading this, just from popping the page open. It's this. That's it. This is the perfect rapping stance. If I have a song to sing, this is the perfect position to be in to rap towards it. Switching to inspired confidence. Because I want to. One may also look at the intellectual and cognitive strategies and capabilities which are required for the actions within the identified environment, i.e. how a person generates the behaviors in that context. On a macro level, capabilities would include general strategies and skills such as learning, memory, motivation, decision-making, and creativity. On a micro level, examining a person's mental capabilities would involve detailing how the person used microcognitive patterns such as visualization, internal dialogue, or self-talk, and his or her senses in the performance of a particular behavior or task. One could further explore the beliefs and values that motivate and shape the thinking strategies and capabilities that are required to accomplish the behavioral goals in the environment, i.e. why a person does things in a particular time and place. On a macro level, basic beliefs relate to the type of meaning, cause-effect relations, and boundaries people place on events or perceive in the surrounding world. On a micro level, a person's beliefs and values can relate to processes on other levels. That is, a person may have beliefs about his or her environment, behavior, capabilities, identity, work system, profession, community, etc. A person can even have beliefs about his or her beliefs, judging them as good, bad, progressive, in conflict, etc. One could look even more deeply to investigate the perception of role or identity a person has in relation to his or her beliefs. capabilities and actions within a particular environment, i.e. the who behind the why, how, what, where, and when. This would involve potential issues relating to role definition, character traits, personality, etc. A key element in establishing a particular role or identity involves defining the sense of mission a person has within the larger system in which he or she is operating. One might also want to examine the way in which a particular person operates within the relational context of family, colleagues, social class, or culture, i.e. who the person is or will be in relation to who and what else. In other words, what is the vision of the individual with respect to the purpose of their behaviors, abilities, beliefs, values, and identity within the larger systems of which he or she is a part? It is often the vision which gives all of the other levels their ultimate meaning. One way to visualize the relationships between these elements is as a network of generative systems that focus or converge on the identity of the individual as the core of the modeling process. We have a lot of triangles, organized triangles on the page, like a tree stem chart. Which is a network of logical levels. So from the top we have branches, bottom we have roots. On the left we have the words from top down: universe, planet, profession / community, family,